Timberwolves fans, how's it going? Happy NFL Sunday. While we wait for basketball to come back, it was a pretty good football day. It just made me miss basketball a little bit more, especially with the Timberwolves posting Ant in the old football helmet that they always kind of post for NBA or for NFL season. Sorry. Um, no, just want to start the top of this episode with just prayers out to Naz Reid's family. His sister was killed over the weekend. Um, there's details on it, nothing super duper confirmed. I don't want to speak on anything and be wrong about it, but it does seem like his sister has passed away. So prayers to his family and everything they're going through, and hopefully there is justice for his sister. So make sure you guys read up on that story, and I'll try to stay close to it and keep you guys updated as soon as news comes out on it. Now, getting into the episode, top of the episode here, I figured, you know what, it'd be a good time to take a look at the projected starting five. We've kind of done the rumor mill of who do we think is going to be in it, who do we think is going to be out of it, and it sounds like we kind of have a set um, expectation of what it could look like. And that's going to be Dante, Ant, Jaden, Randall, Gobert in that order. Sounds like obviously Conley would be coming off the bench then, which I think is good for him. He doesn't need the consistency that Dante does. Conley is okay with coming off the bench and still finding his role in the offense and the defense. Uh, so I think it's a good move to move Dante to the starting lineup. We've looked at the numbers of what he did in New York in the starting lineup, and now it kind of feels like it's the right move. He fits in better with the starting lineup than Conley does at this age, and I really like the move. I think it's a good one. I think we could see a lot of good stuff come out of it. The other four guys obviously are glue guys after last season. We wouldn't expect them to be moved anywhere than where they are unless they were traded. Knock on wood. Let's not have that happen. I like the starting lineup as it is. The only one who I kind of could see being moved is Randall or Rudy, I guess, but more so Rudy than Randall, just because of contract size and age. But that's just kind of if someone else wanted to take him on, but we'll get to that later. Um, that's kind of the starting lineup. There's not much to it right now. Let me know what you guys think of that starting lineup. I think that starting lineup is spectacular. Obviously, we were back to back Western Conference finalists with a little bit different rosters, but overall, not a huge roster overhaul the compared to the year before. So as long as everyone stays healthy, we should be chilling and we should have a good year as a whole. Um, but no, moving on to the next thing, I figured, we should definitely be taking a look at the upside on everyone on the Timberwolves. You know, it's something we haven't done. We've talked about everyone that's on the team a little bit and their role and could they be traded or anything like that. So in no specific order here, just solely based off of what ESPN's given me in a list. Let's talk about the upside of every single player on the Timberwolves. We're going to keep it short, snippy, nothing more than a sentence or two, and then we'll get moving along. But moving along to the worst stuff, the downside of each player. We're going to start with Jean Berenjay, however you want to say it. The upside to him is that he's a young center, but he has a lot of upside, for a lack of better words. He is ready to play in the NBA. Obviously, we're not concerned about sending him down to the Iowa Wolves. It sounds like he will be a backup this year. That is his upside, that he is ready to go. Jalen Clark, next guy up. He is the next guy up. He is spectacular on defense. He almost reminds me of Jared Vanderbilt without the injuries. I think that is where his upside will be. His offensive game could use some work, but his upside is his defense. Mike Conley, his upgrade, veteran leadership, being able to come and be a spark plug, and obviously get all those assists. This guy's nasty at getting assists. He's going to finish top 4, top 3 all time for getting assists easily. Dante DiVincenzo, it's his shooting. His shooting is lights out when he's on. It's without a question the best shooter on the team when he's on, and that is no question. Rob Dillingham, he's young. That's his upside. He's got a lot of room to grow. Anthony Edwards' upside. He is Anthony Edwards. Enrique Freeman, two-way player, That's about it. Might be a bench mob guy. That's all I've really got on him. Rudy Gobert, he's one of the best defensive players of all time in the NBA in terms of winning awards and where he stands at all NBAs and all stars and that type of stuff. That's his upside is his veteran experience and obviously being a top 100 player in the NBA over a long period of time. His longevity is easily one of his best upsides. Bones Highland, yeah, it sounds like Bones is signed. His upside is that he's a spark plug. He's a guy that's probably going to come off the bench, not filling tons of minutes, but when he does come in, he's going to try his hardest. Joe Ingles. We could go with the joke and say that his inbounding is his best because that is literally why it feels like he's on the team. But I think it might be again like Conley, his veteran leadership and experience of playing on high caliber teams, and also probably playing with Rudy, and that also feels like Conley's role too. Jaden McDaniels, dude, it's his size. They have him still listed at 6'9". We knew he grew to a 6'11". We talked about it yesterday. His defense, obviously, another great upside, and his growth on offense is another good upside for him. Leonard Miller, his age, first of all, he's only 21 somehow, but it feels like he's been in the league forever. And also his contract size, because we can use him as a little bit of trade bait and mix him in with another guy or two if we have to. Tristan Newton, another two-way guy, not a ton on him, probably a bench mob player. I'm here for it though. We need those type of guys now that Luka Garza, Josh Minot, and Dawson Nix are all gone. We're gonna need new bench mob guys. I'm gonna need to see some pointing from this bench, or they're gonna have to come up with their own thing. Julius Randle. For lack of saying a whole bunch of words about the guy, his ability to be an absolute dog is his best ability. Like he can come in and do anything he wants when he wants to. It's outstanding. Naz Reid. I'm gonna say it's his fan base. The fan base loving him is his upside. He makes him untouchable, and he is an absolute stud. He's probably the second best shooter behind Dante, easily. Ant's a pretty good shooter, so it's a toss up between second or third, but he's up there in terms of being a great shooter and just a great playmaker as a whole. Terrence Shannon Jr. He another spark plug guy. His upside is his ability and experience in college. His spending 4 years in college, I think, and being also a year older than Anthony Edwards, if you were unaware, I think that is his upside, is how experienced he is for being an older guy in the NBA. He still was a first rounder, and now he's ready to be a sixth, seventh man on a bench because he spent 4 years in college and he has that type of experience. Rocco Zakarski. Yeah, we're putting him on a two-way, but he was a second-round draft pick, and he's a raw talent type of center. So if anything does change in the future with our center position, I feel like he could be a strong backup, maybe a Jacques Landell or someone like that type of player. Not going to get a ton of minutes, but he's going to be decent is probably what I'd give him there. Now, I just quickly want to say I don't want to get negative on our boys, but the downside of each player. So we're going to go quick on these. Jean Beringer, downside. Inexperienced. He is inexperienced. Hasn't played basketball for a super long time. That's his downside. Jalen Clark, downside. He's not going to get a lot of minutes. He's not going to find consistency probably this season outside of maybe some blowouts. I feel like he's an eighth and ninth man, and Finch doesn't go that deep in the roster. Mike Conley, downside is his age. He is old, can't really keep up all the time. That's probably why he's not in the starting lineup this year. Dante, it's his consistency. We've talked about it. His consistency ruins everything. Rob Dillingham, it is his lack of growth. He's still young. He's 20 years old, but we would have hoped to see a little bit more out of him last season, I think. Anthony Edwards' downside. It's his antics. It's his off-the-court stuff. And his on the court when he gets a little bit of attitude going towards a ref or something else. Last thing we need is him getting teed up and kicked out of games or fined for other stuff. Enrique Freeman, two-way player. I don't know, man. I don't know what your downside is. I'll be honest. Rudy Gobert, downside is his offensive capability. It's not there anymore. Game 7, Denver. Yeah, it was there. It can show up in flashes, but it's not there consistently. Bones Highland, not going to find a ton of minutes, so don't really know. His downside is that I don't think he's going to find a ton of minutes out there for us. So I don't know what we're going to do with the guy. Joe Ingles, it's his age on top of just kind of being a bench guy. So I don't know what we're going to do with him either. Like he's going to ride the pine and inbound a ball or tell someone what to do off the bench. Jaden McDaniels, I don't know what his downside is, guys. Like, I guess it could be his lack of growth on offense. We saw it grow last year, but again, he hasn't cracked 30 in a game, which is crazy to think about. But he's only 24, so he's on pace for kind of Ant's entire career, which is nice. Leonard Miller is his lack of growth. Plain and simple. That's that. Tristan Newton, two-way player. Meh. Julius Randle, the theme here on our downside is consistency, and that is another great one for Randall. We've seen what happens. He can go on cold streaks, and also I think a little bit of injury for him. He had an issue staying healthy, it feels like, but I think he's back to being fully healthy for a while now. Nas Reed, dude, it's the problem with this team is consistency. I'm just gonna stick with it. That's another great downside for Nas is it's just consistency. He struggles so hard to stay consistent on offense. It feels like instead of just being a guy who can get 15 a game. Terrence Shannon Jr., downside is his age. I feel like it kind of gives him, what's the right word here? I don't know. It's just Finch isn't going to use him as much, and also he's a year younger than Nas Reed and a year younger than Ant. So he's in a weird position in terms of he's only here his second year now, but obviously Ant's going on year 6, and so it's lack of being an NBA guy. Rocco Zakarski, his downside again is just we don't know what he is, and that is a downside. We don't know what we are going to expect from him, and he's a two-way guy. Is what it is, but he's 7'2" and a lot of potential there. Lastly, quick little trade here that I was taking a peek at. You guys can tell me what you think. I think it could make sense with everything we were just talking about there, especially if this team was looking to blow up their team and kind of start fresh. This feels like something they could do, and or either even hit like a win now button. It feels like this is a better option than blowing up the entire roster. It's just moving your guys around, and they're gonna get some picks from us. They'd probably get 3 to 4 first round picks would be my guess because we're taking an all-star player who is a young center. So in the trade, it's obviously with the Grizzlies, and we're sending them Rudy Gobert and Rob Dillingham. Makes sense. We've talked about moving both of them. Both those guys make sense to the Grizzlies. Rudy obviously would be able to come play starting center then. Edie could come off the bench. Rob Dillingham could learn behind Ja, and it feels like that's a better place for him to possibly learn and get more playing time. And then the Timberwolves, we're getting Jaren Jackson Jr., the one-time All-Star. I really like the guy. I like how he plays. I think he could fit in nicely with our roster in terms of spacing and shot creating and that type of stuff. And then we're grabbing some depth from the Grizzlies in Cam Spencer and Scottie Pippen Jr., two young guards who I think would slide in nicely into the depth because we know that TSJ and Clark can both kind of play that power forward, even power forward position, I'd say. If we want to go a little bit smaller, and we have the depth at those taller positions, but we're lacking it at the younger or at the smaller ones of kind of the guards. So I just want to try to keep that simple. But that's all I have for you guys. Let me know what you guys think of all the trades or the downsides of some of our players, or what you might think of the starting lineup roster for this year. That's it, though. You guys all take care, and I will talk to you guys next time.